We're live. Hey, hey, hey. It is Wednesday evening. Thought it was Thursday earlier today. My husband corrected me and told me no, it was just Wednesday. So, howdy ho there, neighbors. We are going to be talking about lots of things tonight. We're going to be discussing some self-sabotage. And we're also going to be talking about parameters in life, and it's more than just the food. And we got quite a discussion. So I hope we have some people on here to join us and make it more interesting. So I'll just sit back and sip my decaf coffee. I have a couple of teaspoons of cacao powder in it. I know cacao is not carnivore, but that's okay. I'm on day, I don't even know, of just beef, butter, and tallow. Feeling amazing. It's kind of cool. Like, it was already really simple, but now it got more simple and I'm feeling good. So that's been cool. I probably should have written it down when I started, but I think I did announce it to y'all when I started. So I'll have to go back and reference my notes. Anyway, I hope y'all had a wonderful day today. I had a wonderful day today. We did homeschool, me and 4 of my little ones today, one of my mid-sized ones. And it was wonderful. We are still working through the good and the beautiful. And it's been several years now that I've been using the good and the beautiful. Love it. Highly recommend it, especially for their language arts component. It's really, really good. I have Texas boys walking through the office right now. And yeah, so nobody's here right now, but I guess I can go ahead and get started and see who shows up. So the first topic of the evening is going to be avoiding self-sabotage. And I see this very often. And we know that food in most cases is tied to our emotions, our stress levels, just different things. And people use food as a coping mechanism, whether you realize it or not. You probably have used food at some point in your life to cope and not realized it. I know I did. If you're not feeling well, if you're celebrating and having a good time, whatever the thing is, culture, there's just so many things that play into self-sabotage. We could list lots of reasons to why we self-sabotage ourselves. But I think tonight we can just kind of get into when you're on a carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet, some of the things that there's like good, better, best, right? So some things are highly palatable, as Kelly Hogan says, and those highly palatable things are very easy to overdo it on and to overeat on and sabotage yourself with these things. When I say sabotage yourself, I'm meaning that you're not getting the results that you want as fast as you want because you're overeating maybe in some of these areas. And I've definitely been guilty of that along the way too. So one of the things, the first thing is cheese. Cheese is definitely highly palatable. And people love cheese. Most people love cheese. Most people can overeat cheese very easily. And it's just one of those things that if we're not careful, we can really undo all of the hard work that we're doing because we're just saying, oh, well, it's carnivore, I can have it. And we overdo it, right? So I know Kelly Hogan talks about like rather than cheese, like if she's already eaten her food for the day or whatever, it's the evening, say, and you want a snack, right? And I'm talking about this is all later. If you're just getting started, don't try to stress out about these details too much in the beginning. But just take it, put the information in your back pocket, and keep it there because you're probably going to need to pull it out and use it later. But don't stress about the details, any of these details in the beginning, okay? In the beginning, it's hard enough just doing a carnivore diet, so don't stress, okay? But as you progress, as you move on, as you complete your 3 months, your 90 days, and you've done just beef, butter, and eggs, or whatever you've done, whatever your system is that you have in place, then maybe you can pull back and start to consider some of these things. And maybe even earlier, maybe after the first month or two, you start to reconsider some of these things, depending on how you're doing. And everybody's going to be doing different. We all are in different bodies, different ages, different lifestyles. So it's all going to be different. But cheese is one thing that is kind of more like you would need to put a parameter around that and maybe say, okay, I'm going to allow myself to have cheese, on Sunday, or I'm going to allow myself to have cheese twice a month, or whatever your parameter is. I don't know. Because pepperoni and cheese is really awesome. Cheese on burgers is really awesome. But if we overdo it, it can just be a problem. And like I was starting to say was that Kelly talks about like, do the hamburger patty test with yourself. So if you're craving something or wanting something, then you get a hamburger patty and you're like, okay, do I want to cook this hamburger patty and do I want to eat this? And if the answer is just a plain old hamburger patty, if the answer is no to the hamburger patty, or you could say steak or ground beef, if your answer is no to that plain meat, then you're not hungry. You're just wanting something, but you're not necessarily hungry. I'm saying if you've already eaten everything that you normally eat in a day, I'm not saying starve yourself. I'm saying eat all that you normally eat in a day. And then if you're just like moseying around the house, like looking for something, thinking about something, and you're like, oh, there's cheese in the refrigerator, that would be really easy to eat. That's step one. Don't keep cheese in the refrigerator. You don't want to keep these things prep for eternity. It's just me and you tonight. You don't want to keep these things around that are going to be like little trigger points for you. And they're just so easy to do, because if it's there and it's in the refrigerator, you're going to eat it. Like guaranteed, you're going to eat it. You're going to fight with yourself. And then eventually you're going to cave and you're going to eat it. So like this past week when I bought cheese and lunch meats and all the pepperoni and all that stuff, and I forgot to look at the carb and the sugar content, but next time I'm going to do that. I'm going to get better and I'm going to flip over the package and look at the carb and the sugar content, and make sure that I'm not self-sabotaging by doing something really silly and foolish. So anyway, but what did I do? I took all the lunch meat and the cheese and I put it in the freezer, and it's frozen, because then I know, one, we'll have it for this coming Sunday, because I want it to actually take to church and share. But two, I know we weren't going to eat it because if I put that cheese and that pepperoni and lunch meat in the refrigerator, it's gone. It's totally gone. There is no way that we're going to be able to control ourselves and keep out of it. So we're talking about self-sabotage. We're talking about evaluating things that maybe they were okay in the beginning months, but as you go on, if you're not getting to where you want to be, and maybe you're in a stall, maybe you're just really, really working really hard at this carnivore or keto thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm just not feeling good. I'm not getting where I want to be health wise. What is going on? So these are the things to consider. So we talked about cheese. We're talking about highly palatable foods that are technically carnivore, but you can overindulge. No, not right now, sir. You can overindulge and you can overeat these things and it can mess you up. For your goals, I'm saying, not mess you up health wise. But the next one is cream. So heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, or half and half cream, or if you're using the pre-made creamers from the grocery store, you have to cut them out. Okay. And that's another thing that goes in with cheese. And, when you're buying cheese and lunch meats and things like that, you really want to be careful about the oils. A lot of times there's like different nasty oils and stuff that they put in cheese. It's not even cheese that you're eating. What was it that last night I ran to Dollar General because we needed a glue stick and my daughter, we needed a glue stick. And while I was there, I was like, well, I'll pick up some half and half for my boys because my teen boys like half and half in their coffee. So Dollar General, it's just cream and milk and it's cheap. So I got a couple containers of half and half while I was there. And they had burgers, right? Burger patties in boxes. And I was like, oh, wow. They were like $2.88 or $3 a pound for these burger patties. And I'm like, check this out. This is crazy, right? There's no such thing as burger patties that cheap. So I was interested. So I grabbed the box and I turn it over and it's got like soy in it. And I forget what else it had in it. It was like soy flour, just some nasty stuff in the burger patties. And, it always just makes me feel so bad because there's people that, are on very limited budgets and maybe they worked all day or whatever. They run into Dollar General. Maybe they've heard about carnivore or keto, right? And maybe they're just trying to feed their family some meat and they pick up that box and take it home and feed it to their family. And they didn't even realize. They thought they were giving their family beef. And here, lo and behold, it's a bunch of soy and it's a bunch of crap in burgers. It's just burger meat. Of course, it's Dollar General. It's not a high standard, but I'm just saying it's just a shame what they put and what they sneak into our foods today. So you just have to be really, really diligent about when you're buying your butter, make sure it's cream, milk, salt, if you're going to have salted butter. Make sure it's simple. When you're buying your half and half, make sure it's just cream and milk. You don't need all of the other stuff in it. So that is one thing. Okay, so we talked about cream. I can definitely overdo it on cream. I already told you guys this. I did half and half when we were on vacation on the boat. It makes me drink more. Like I can just that little bit of sugar. It's like, I don't know. It just wakes up the sugar monster inside of me and it makes me want to drink coffee like all day long or hot chocolate or whatever. I just want, it's a battle that I have to fight myself with if I start putting half and half in my stuff. So, and I don't want that battle. Like I won that battle. I'm over that battle. I don't want to have to deal with that all day long. So I'm very good on, this is my second cup of, and this is decaf. Everything's decaf now, but it's decaf with a couple little teaspoons of cacao powder in it. But it has my coconut cream milk. I've been buying the one by Silk. I think I told you all this. Hey, I'm an old lady. I'm going to say the same things over and over. I'm like your grandma. So, but that's okay, because I know sometimes we miss things, and then, you know, it's good to wrap back around. But I was buying the canned coconut milk. It's like no carbs, no sugar, but less than one, something like that. That doesn't make me feel like that. When I have that coconut milk in my coffee, I've been doing that for 6 years, 7 years now. I don't feel like I can drink it all day long. But with that cow milk, that sugar, oh yeah, we can have a party with that. So I'm just like, okay. And I kept it for a couple weeks after we got back from vacation. And then I was like, Heather, how's your hamburgers? And I was like, okay, I got to give it up. I just got to give it up because it's a problem and I don't want to fight that battle in my mind all day. So it's just got to go. So anyway, but I switched over to the Silk company, makes very, very inexpensive. It's in the refrigerated section at Walmart. It's not perfect, but there's no carrageenan in it, which is carcinogenic if you look that up. And there's no like seed oils and stuff like that in it. It's just coconut milk, unsweetened. It's really cheap. And I made a bunch of keto ice cream with it too, but I haven't had any yet. I don't really have any desire for the ice cream right now. So anyway, that's the next thing, ice cream. So ice cream is one of those things that like Dr. Kiltz talks about ice cream. There's lots of keto recipes for ice cream out there, lots of eggs, milk, or heavy cream, half and half, or you can do it with coconut milk if you're doing dairy free. And it's really, really good. But if you're using a sweetener in it, you can overdo it. So it's just something to be aware of, that, you know, you're putting in all this effort, you're putting in all this time. The last thing you want to do is get to the end of the week or the month or whatever, get the end of 3 months and then be like, wow, I don't know, I don't feel that much better. Well, yeah, because, you know, you were eating a bunch of cheese and dairy and, you know, like, you know, you slowed yourself down. We're talking about self-sabotage. These aren't things that you have to worry about in the beginning. In the beginning, carnivore is hard enough. Just do carnivore. Don't stress about all the details. But as you go on, you're going to be able to self-evaluate. And some people can have half and half or heavy cream every day, all day long. It will not affect them one single bit. Some people can have cheese all day long and it's not going to have any effect on them whatsoever. They're going to be meeting all their health goals, looking great, doing great. We're all different, right? So we're all not like 25-year-old athletes that like do lots of activity or like surf 5 hours a day or something like that. Okay. We're all different. So, so we all have different, different limits. We're talking about limitations, right? So rather than saying I can't have any cream or, you know, like for me, rather than say I can't have any cream in my coffee, even though I did no cream, Heather, for, what was it? A week? I just put cacao powder in my coffee in camaraderie with my friend Heather because she's hardcore and she drinks black coffee. She's awesome. So, but I put cacao powder in mine. And then I got to the end of the week or so and I was just like, you know, I feel a little happier with a little coconut milk in it. So I just went back to the coconut milk. So anyway, you have to learn your limits. So we're talking about lunch meats, checking out the carbs and the sugar in the lunch meats. I'm saying if you're doing this on a regular basis. So if like every evening your go-to snack is lunch meat and pepperoni and cheese, first of all, if you're needing snacks, you probably just need to eat. You probably just need to make up some more hamburgers, make up some more ground beef, throw in another steak and eat that. And if that plain meat doesn't sound good to you, just plain meat without cheese, without any toppings on it. If plain meat doesn't sound good to you, then you're probably not hungry. If you've gone the whole day, you've eaten all your stuff, you're probably just not hungry. But if you're finding yourself wanting, just to snack on pepperoni and cheese or just to have lunch meats and things like that, like, every night or several times a week, and then you're not meeting your goals, you might just need to just take a few steps back and reevaluate and then kind of decide what your parameters are going to be around that thing. So maybe it's just, we'll have lunch meat on Sunday evenings, or we'll have lunch meat twice a month, whatever it is. And I've even heard people say this. I've heard lots of people say this about bacon. And they said, I could overeat on bacon. And we know like some bacons, of course, if they have sugar in them and things like that. But if your bacon doesn't have sugar in it, you can just check the sugar and the carb content on the back of the package. Even ours, like the cheapest of the cheap, big giant packs of bacon, I think it's like hickory smoked or something. It doesn't, I don't know how they do it, but they flavor it, but there's like, when you look at it, there's no sugar and carbs in it. So I don't know. I don't know how that works, but maybe in the process, I don't know, because it's cheap bacon. But for some people, they say they can overeat bacon, and bacon will actually cause them to gain weight because they're overeating it. It's highly palatable. So just being aware of that. And, like Dr. Berry says, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, right? So I'm not saying like I'm anti-bacon by all means. And in the beginning, celebrate carnivore, baby. In the beginning, do anything that you can that's carnivore or low carb keto, anything that you can to keep yourself happy, motivated, full. Don't worry about anything. Just at the end of the day, be like, yes, I did it. I stayed carnivore for the day. If you ate a whole package of bacon, don't worry about it in the beginning. I'm just saying for people that you're moving along and then you realize like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, I agree with Kelly Hogan. Like I could eat bacon like it's candy. Like when I guess if you just keep going, you realize what your food issues are, and it's bigger than the food. There's more to it than the food. So putting these parameters in place are just really, really helpful. And that's it. That's just my observations, is basically seeing, and it's based on our own, life and just other people, and just seeing like other people online and just go through long periods of carnivore or whatever, keto, and then really getting to their goals super, super slowly. And you just wonder how it would be if they weren't self-sabotaging themselves with these things that I know it's hard to let go of these things. And I think it's because I'm not saying to let go of the cheese and the ice cream. I have ice cream in my freezer right now. I have half and half cream in my refrigerator right now for my teenage kids. I have lunch meat in my other freezer right now. And I have a lot of bacon from our pig. So I would be a hypocrite to say, we've given up all these things and they're all self-sabotage. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that we've found ways now, 7 months into it, we've found ways to put some parameters around these foods so that we can say, we're not going to have them all the time. We're not going to have them all the time. But in the beginning, have bacon all the time. Have breakfast sausage all the time. And I really wouldn't even get hung up on the carbs and that kind of stuff in the beginning. Just keep yourself happy in the beginning. It's hard enough just to do this. I wouldn't get stuck on, the little tedious things about it. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. And I wanted to share, I got a couple things for y'all tonight. I got eggs to show you, and I don't know what I did with it. Where did I do with it? Oh, I might not have made it in here. Well, I guess I might have to show you tomorrow night. But I have that Tiny Habits book, right? So I've been watching Amanda from Carnivore, and the past month, over a month, she's been talking about this book, Tiny Habits. I got the book, and Heather's got the book, and I started reading it, and I got some things that I'm working on, some little new habits to do, and it's really, really neat because I think that the food is the first step. It's not all about the food, right? There's lots of bigger, deeper issues surrounding food that have become habits in our life and just fallbacks and defaults in our life surrounding food. And that is the box that you have to get out of. The food helps, though. When you're getting all of those good healthy fats and proteins, your brain is being healed, your hormones are being healed, your body is being fully nourished, you're feeling good. And that's just the first step to like giving you the strength, I think, to get to the next things, the better things in life, which is like, oh, now I can sit and homeschool my kids all afternoon. And like, it's just so enjoyable and it's so relaxing. And, and I don't have teeny tiny little ones either. Let me caveat this by, if you have little babies, homeschool isn't always relaxing and enjoyable. Like, I know the grandiose ideas of like the Charlotte Mason throwing the blanket out on the lawn and reading stories all day. And then like little kids are crawling all over your lap. And it's just like this blissful, wonderful time. And I realized real quick when I had my first 3 in 3 years, I was like, oh, I thought I was going to do that and be that mom. And then I realized I was just picking up Cheerios off the floor like until lunchtime. Like there was just no way. If we even made it outside, like a couple of us, maybe while the little baby took a nap and they like got to play in the sandbox, that was like the highlight of the day. Yeah. So there's a reality with all of that too. But my youngest is 5 now. So it's a whole different thing. And I have found in this season that I'm in, homeschooling them one at a time, it takes longer, but I love the one-on-one time and just the one-on-one attention with them. And it's just been great. So I just have them come to the table one at a time and we do schoolwork together and that's it. And then they go and the next one comes and it's been great. So anyway, so I brought my Tiny Habits book, but I must have left it out in the living room. My Tiny Habits book, my journaling, my prayer journal, and my journaling Bible. And that's the 3 things that I've really been trying to do. That's my one tiny habit that I've been working on is just reading a little bit from my book, a little bit, like maybe like a couple paragraphs, maybe a page from my book, and then doing just 1 page of Bible journaling, and I listen to sermons too. So I'll listen to a sermon while I am coloring or reading in my Bible and journaling and stuff. So anyway, that's been my big thing. And in my prayer journal, I just write out to the Lord. I just write out what I'm praying and what I'm thinking about that day. And sometimes it's really short, but I just really, I'm kind of a pen and paper kind of girl anyway. So I just really like putting it on paper. And it just helps me to really focus and everything. So that's my 3 things that are right by my bedside. And in the morning before I start anything else, I go in my bedroom. I learned this from my friend Christine, who's a little bit further down the road than me. And she would just prop herself up in bed and do her little Bible devotion or whatever. And it was her own time. And I am finally to a place that like, I don't have, screaming, which I did before. even if they were screaming at the door, go in, lock the door. And I'm like, okay, they'll be there as long as they're screaming, they're still alive, and I can come out and, deal with them when I'm done. Sometimes it was like in the bathroom. It's the only time you could ever like get away was just like lock yourself in the bathroom for a couple minutes. If you had to like make a phone call or something when you have little ones. But anyway, not complaining. They're a blessing. They're a blessing. I love them all tremendously. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. And I'm really excited. I'm going to show you these eggs real quick here. I promised I would show you some of my eggs because I was boasting last night about my eggs. So here, oops, and I'm really not good at this. So here is one of my eggs, and you can see it's like a brown green. I don't know if the color's coming through really, really well, but it's really, really pretty. It's like a really brownish green. And this one's going to look the same probably on the screen, but it's not in real life. And this one, I'm so backwards. This one's like a brown. This one's like a matte brown. So cool. Super cool. We had black copper morans and blue copper morans years ago, and I used them to get the dark egg color. That I still have some of those. And as they kept crossing with my Araucana hens, they just the colors kept changing. So it's really cool. And of course I have like your traditional olive color. I get speckled ones. I get really cool colored eggs. And then this one's really pretty. Just a nice, I don't know, like rosy. Yeah, I love my eggs. They're just so cool. So anyway, I wanted to bring them on and show them to you all tonight. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have. If you guys got questions for me or want to talk about anything at all. Oh, I did think it was kind of cool. I'm going to get to your comments here in 1 second. I did think that it was really cool. I was listening to Nisha Berry on her channel. She has like a couple little live streams on there. And 2 live streams ago, I believe it is, a lady asked her, she just said, I forget, like, I don't know, mid 40s or 50s, and I want to get blood work done. What should I do? And she didn't say like, I have all these health problems or here's all my concerns, nothing. She just said her age. And then Nisha was like, oh, for like premenopausal or, postmenopausal or whatever. She was like, I just recommend all women just go see Dr. Bright, and she takes patients. She does like a 30-day protocol, which I didn't know that. But she will also do all your blood work, and she'll work on you one-on-one. And she said also that they're going to be having Dr. Bright on their channel. I think she said in February. So she said, yes, they really like her and appreciate her. So I thought that was pretty cool that Nisha Berry is telling someone, just like, I mean, this lady didn't say she had lots of issues or anything like that. Just like, oh, I'm 40 or whatever, 50 years old. What should I do? And she's just like, yeah. And she even recommended Dr. Bright's book. And so she said her and Dr. Berry are very similar in their ways that they think about things or approach things with women's health as her. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. But she said she doesn't know what the price is, like to have her evaluate your blood work or work with her one-on-one or anything like that. But that was pretty cool. Okay. Let's see what everybody is saying on here. It's a small group tonight. We have 2 girls who love to cook sweets, so it makes it difficult at times. Yes, that would make it really difficult. God bless you in your mission. I don't know. I really, really don't know. Like, I just can't have them in the house. That's the thing. Like, to me, if it's in the house, and it's funny because this Tiny Habits book, It's not about keto or carnivore or anything like that. It's more like a psychological book, but it's about like, just developing habits. Obviously, it's called Tiny Habits. It's about developing little habits in your life or whatever. But he was giving examples of food temptation, and that you just got to get rid of it. Like you have to get rid of it because you're going to cave to it. And like, I think that, okay, so we got to be gentle with our kids, and we have different, a different process. Every family is different too, but a lot of it is education. Like, a lot of it's just being really transparent and recognizing that it's really, really hard, and it's hard for everybody, but we were wrong. We were wrong, and we thought we were doing right, and we weren't, and we're going to try to do better. And that's life. And, and like I said, early, we still had those fruit, like we allowed, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to allow, like we allowed the frozen berries in the smoothie, and that was like ice cream. Like they would make it really, really thick at night and just eat it with a spoon like ice cream. And so would I for those first few months. But they continued their smoothies through the summer. My boys did, on and off, and my little ones. But now they're finally at a place that they're like, okay, but see, I could say no to the smoothie. Like eventually it took me a few months, but then I could say no to the smoothie. But if I had like baskets of fruit in my kitchen, no way. I just couldn't do it. Like I can say no to things when I'm out and about. My kids can say no to things when we're out and about, but if it's in the house and it's staring at you every day, or you just know it's there, like you just know it's in the cabinet, like I have all the ingredients to make the chocolate cake and they're all right there and all I have to do is make it. No, I am not that strong. I don't have that kind of willpower. My kids don't have that kind of willpower. I'm not going to do it. And that happened this Thanksgiving. We had a couple of the ingredients to make the pumpkin pie. And I even caved and I tried to make a crustless pumpkin pie. And my kids really, really know how to bake very, very well. But I just tried to do it with just the pumpkin puree that I had canned up years ago. I still have like 60 or 80 jars of pumpkin puree that I canned from our pumpkins. I don't know how many years ago. So I tried that with just some honey in it, like more like a custard. It was so gross. It was so bad, which was good. The Lord protected me, because if it had been good, we probably would have like eaten that whole thing, and I would have been making more like all that week, because that's kind of how my brain does it. Like I can't do moderation at all. So the Lord blessed all of us that it was so gross. I don't even know if the chickens wanted it. Like it was just bad. It was just so bad. So anyway, but we just can't have it in the house. And I said to the boys that week of Thanksgiving, I said, if you really want a pumpkin pie, as much as I hate them, they do too, because they know how to make real pumpkin pies that really taste good. And we know how to do them all the different ways. We know how to do them the bad way, the Whole Foods way, the dairy-free, gluten-free way. We know how to do them sugar-free. We know all the different ways to make all these different desserts. We know paleo dessert recipes. We've done all the gamut. I'm like, if you really want a pumpkin pie, we'll just go to the grocery store and we'll just get one of those gross pumpkin pies, and it'll just be one of those little ones, and we'll each have a little slice, and then that'll be it, And they're like, no, that's not worth it. They're just gross. Like, never mind. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but it was because that was my parameter, is what I'm trying to say, was that I mentally have to set myself and my family up for success with it. And I knew that if we start something, it's just going to turn into something. So, nobody wanted the store-bought pumpkin pie. So that was the end of that. But yeah, that's the things that you're going to have to figure out, prep for eternity. And, explaining stuff to your kids as you go is really good. That's discipleship. Their health is really, really important. And knowing about food, knowing how to feed yourself is really important. It's going to affect their health, short term or long term. It's going to affect the health of their children. I think it's health and nutrition and food is a life skill that we should always be sharing and discipling with our children. And as we learn more and figure out more, we just share more, and sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes life's not fun, right? We have things, especially as Christians, that we do. And then maybe 6 months down the road or a few years down the road, we reevaluate. And then we're like, oh, we did that, but I don't think that the Lord's really pleased with that. So we're not going to do that again, right? Like we bought that movie and then we had that movie in the house and I thought it was okay. And we watched it like 100 times over, but I really don't think I don't think that we should be watching that, and it's the same with food. There's parameters in life and it's okay. It's good and healthy for kids to learn how to be flexible with that and to learn how to pivot. That's going to be your whole Christian walk, is pivoting, reversing, backing up, repenting, right? Figuring it out, brushing yourself off, getting back on with it, right? So that's all a good, healthy thing. And nobody's arrived. Nobody's there yet. It's not about that. It's just about everybody doing what they can do, and moving forward and just keep taking little steps. And, like back when I thought that I had thyroid cancer, I didn't know what to do. So I just said, and we were changing everything, totally everything that food wise that came into our house again. And so I just said, I'm just going to learn one thing. So today I'm just going to learn one thing that I can do that will be better than what I did yesterday. If it was back then, like a supplement or something to juice, because, we were big juice people and all that, or whatever it was, food wise, I'm going to learn how to cut up some vegetables. Whatever it was, I was just, okay, today I learned this. This was my one thing that I learned to do today, so it's just keep taking those steps forward. Okay. That was probably the garbage me we tried before. Definitely will watch out. Oh, look at your picture. That's so cute. Y'all are so cute. Let's see. Reality is meltdown spills fixing food during the first years. All in seasons. Wouldn't trade it for anything. No, I would not trade it for anything. I loved it. I might not have loved every single minute, but I just loved all of it. Enjoyed it. I wish I could stretch it. I wish I still had little ones around. And I think the older you get, the more you appreciate it. And just the more patience and wisdom you have in it, the more confidence you have in it. And it was just precious times. But yeah, the expectation was kind of funny. Yeah. Happens a lot in life. Okay. Nice. Okay. Oh, Divina said, I made it. Awesome. How is the weather up there? Is it cold up there? It's going to be cold down here. 9. I think the low is going to be 9. Heather, tell me if I'm wrong. That's what my boys told me this morning. Next week, it's going to get cold. We might even get snow, which I think we're due for a snow. Every 5 years or so, we get a good snow. Jessica Pennington personally says, hello, just logged on, and I've been a long time hanging out, maybe watching. Cool. Awesome. Welcome. All right, let's see. Oh, longtime follower before vegan healthy journey. Yes. Yes. We were plant-based for a long time. Do you feel like this is for everyone or just a trial and error lifestyle? I'm currently trying to detox from standard American diet and find something. I think this is it. Like I totally think that this is the easiest thing that we've ever done. I know I don't want to try to like make it to put down anybody that's having a hard time with it. I get if you're, it's all in phases and whatever. But for us, even though there's challenges with it, I think it's the more mental game of it. But it's the easiest thing. It's the most sustainable thing. It's simple. It doesn't get any more simple. And I feel great. My kids feel great. My little ones are waking up and they're putting steaks in the air fryer and they're eating a steak. And steak, butter, tallow. It's real good foods and it's healing. There's nothing more healing than this. It's mono meals. So if you're coming from the plant-based world or the extreme plant-based world where we were for like 2 years about way back when Matt was a baby, we did like the 80-10-10, the like raw until 4. We've done all the different things. It's the juicing. We've done all of the things. Fruitarian is 80-10-10. And that's hard. You're hungry all the time. You're eating all the time or thinking about eating all the time. And it's the same with paleo. It's the same with Whole Foods, Whole30, all of that stuff. There's still carbohydrates in it. And as long as you're eating the carbohydrates, you're going to have the struggle. You're just going to have the struggle. It's just the way that it is. Your body just processes it into sugar and you're just going to be struggling with a lot of things. Depending on the person, you're just going to be struggling with a lot of things. And I think, if people want to go keto first and then go ketovore and then play around with carnivore and then, from carnivore, play around with, like I talked about tonight, like the different specific components of carnivore, whether it's dairy free or coffee free or, whatever you wanted to play around with, all beef, right? That's what me and my husband are doing right now is just beef, salt, tallow, butter. And it's amazing. I feel great. I don't feel hungry at all. And before I would even feel hungry at all, I would just go make up another big pan of ground beef and put some more tallow and butter in it. And it's great. Everybody's satisfied. It's just been amazing. I would not ever, never, even if, God forbid, I had another scare with cancer or some type of horrible degenerative thing that happened to me, I would not ever again go back to vegan or plant-based. I think that we did a lot of harm. I think we did way more harm than good. And I think a lot of it is because of all the chemicals. I think there's a couple things with this. This is going to be a long answer. So I'm not an evolutionist. My husband's not an evolutionist. We are Christians, right? And so we don't prescribe to like the caveman theory, or we just, were hunter-gatherers eating meat. Although if you look at the pioneers and stuff like that, people that lived more like primitive type lives, of course, they just hunted and ate what they had and different things like that. Even people in Canada and Alaska and wherever, all different parts of the world still do there's some people that still do that type of lifestyle, but we're coming at it from a place of biblical Christianity. And so when we try to weigh some of this out, well, first of all, I don't know that all of it needs to be weighed out. We're allowed to eat meat. we're told to eat meat in the Bible, like a lot of the sacrifices and the feasts and different things, they had to eat all of it. Like it was a commandment. There was no vegan out, you had to eat the rest of it, all of it, So, so I don't see any reason in that aspect, but we're thinking of it more as we live in a time that we've never ever lived in humanity before, where we have these grocery stores on every corner, right? In modern society, right? You have food at your fingertips always everywhere, right? I can go into the grocery store, I can buy cherries, peaches, I can buy every kind of fruit, I can buy pineapple, I could buy whatever I wanted of fruit from all across the world. I could go down the carb aisle and I could buy rice and I could buy oats and I could buy quinoa and I could buy all of it. And we've had all of it in our house. And I can buy every kind of thing underneath the sun all the time. It's always available. So we have this gluttony of food that it's very unnatural. It's never been like that ever in history. Things were always limited to a season. When you think about like, oh, it's blackberry season, so our families picked blackberries. Maybe we made some blackberry cobbler, or we just enjoyed some blackberries, and then it was over, right? That's not how it is now. Now it's like you can get blackberries, every single month as much as you want. You can get big giant bags of them and eat them like candy all day long. So there's no limits on our food anymore. Everything's available all the time. And I think that's one of the big problems. And then, the second big problem that we see is the pollution and the chemicals and the stuff that they're spraying in the air all the time. That goes everywhere. That goes into our ponds, that goes into our water, it goes into our crops, it goes on the leaves of our plants. Yeah, we can bring them in and wash them, but those plants don't have defense mechanisms. They don't have livers to filter out chemicals. They don't have what a bunch of stomachs, they like a ruminant animal. So when it's in the soil, right? When they spray down things in the sky or on the side of the road, or the farmers spraying. There's pesticides everywhere. When it rains, it all rains onto our property. So, you're being bombarded. You think you're eating a piece of broccoli, but what you're really eating, who knows? It could be spray bombed with whatever. And you don't know. And even though it has the organic label on it or whatever, you just still don't know. Even if you grew it in your own backyard and you never sprayed anything ever on it, which we didn't when we were growing gardens and vegetables and all of that, we didn't. But our food was still making us sick. I know that because when we took out the tomatoes and the green beans and the potatoes, we got better. My husband doing pull-ups, doing push-ups. He's just doing great. I'm doing sit-ups. My belly after having 6 babies has gone back to I have stomach muscles. I didn't even know that was even possible. I just thought that that's what a mommy belly looked like after you had 6 babies. And that's just what it would always, always be. But that was not true at all. I was bloated. And well, I just did this recently with eggs. And hey, eggs are carnivore. This is what we were getting into some of the nitty gritty stuff, right? But you can do these little experiments later. But I was eating eggs, a lot of eggs. And I know some people can eat eggs, a lot of eggs, and they're good. But for me, I was eating the whole egg. And then for several months, I was just eating the yolks. And then I was just like, man, I just feel bloated. I don't feel great. Like, why is my belly like this? And then I was thinking back and I'm like, when we went on our cruise for the week, I didn't have any eggs. I had bacon for breakfast with my coffee. And then I had burgers for lunch. And then for dinner, I had 2 or 3 steaks. And I didn't have any bloat. My stomach wasn't bloated at all. And now I look like I'm 3 months pregnant. So, okay, I'm only eating beef, butter, tallow, and eggs. So, let's take out the eggs and see what happens. Well, it all went away. So, eggs aren't bad, right? I mean, Bella, the steak and butter girl, eats like a dozen of them at a time. So we're all different. We are all different. But this is such a simplistic diet that when you get down to just the nitty gritty of it, and you hit a baseline, because when you're just eating beef, butter, and eggs, you're at such a baseline. And if you do that for 30 days or 90 days, you're going to find where your baseline is. And then if you want to say, oh, let me try adding back in kale. And you're going to be able to be like, oh, kale doesn't affect me at all. I actually do fine on it. That's totally fine. Or you're going to be like, oh, wow, that really gasses me out. Man, my stomach's all bloated. Yeah, never mind the kale. And then the next week, because you're just going to one ingredient at a time, right? 1 week at a time, because it takes time to figure these things out. You'll add potatoes or tomatoes or whatever you're, maybe just stick with low carb stuff, but like, you'll add something in and you'll see how you do. And it helps you to figure out where you need to be, because not everybody needs to be hardcore carnivore forever. Dr. Barry says, maybe 65, 70% of Americans can thrive and do really, really well on like a ketovore diet, but you don't know what ingredients of ketovore you're really doing optimal with, or what things that you think are healthy or you think are just your favorite tasty things, but they're really hurting you. You don't know that until you get to the baseline. So I think that is something that we're still learning and figuring out as we go. And it's really cool. Like, it's really cool. It might sound really hard or overwhelming. Don't do it when it sounds hard and overwhelming. Just get your feet established and start doing some type of carnivore or ketovore diet, and then just kind of work your way backwards from there. And it'll get so easy because the food addiction goes away. The carb addiction goes away. Any cravings for anything that you think about, it doesn't have power over you anymore. So then it's just interesting. Then it's just an experiment of like, oh, well, what happens when I take out the Relight with, my electrolytes with stevia in it? Do I feel better, or does it not matter? Right. So all the different things. What happens when I take out caffeinated coffee? Do I feel better, or is it something, so just, it's really fun. It's really, really fun. It's kind of geeky and dorky, but it really gets fun as the months go on. And as you get grounded and established, and that food's not having control over you anymore, you can really play around with it and find out where is your happy place, where, it's going to look a little different for everybody. All right. Let's see. Going to be cold negatives for the lows. Oh, it's going to be cold. Well, we're getting single digits next week, supposedly. So, yikes, negatives. Oh, thanks, Jessica. That's sweet. I feel great. I feel really, really good. And I think that I'm still realizing like that I'm feeling better, because like this morning I woke up at 5 o'clock. I was just like, oh, I'm awake. I'm good. And then I'm like, sitting around. I don't really have anything to do at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm just like, oh, well, I'll just sitting by the fireplace, talked to my husband before he got ready to go to work. And I just chilled for a couple hours. There was nothing to do. And, sometimes that's what we need to do is nothing. Like, we don't need to get up and jump on a treadmill or get up and start trying to do something right away. Sometimes just getting up and resting is the thing that you're doing. Like, I think that we live in such a fast-paced society that just sitting by the fireplace and chilling and resting was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, it's normal human behavior, like sitting by a fire. Why do I feel like I have to get up and accomplish all these things? I don't have to do that. Like, later I can do that. And I did my Tiny Habits book, right? So I'm reading through my Tiny Habits book slowly. I'm trying to pace myself with it. But so it's all about prompts and establishing little tiny things, right? Not big, giant things, little things that are easy to do, right? And so on my phone, first time ever, I know I'm an old lady, this is silly and dorky, but first time ever, I have like tasks now on my phone. So they were saying you have to have a prompt. And I'm like, well, the best prompt for me is really like a time thing on my phone. And even though I won't hit all the times exactly because we homeschool and we have a farm and it's just life, but still having the little time prompts, I think that works well for me because like I have a goal that I start homeschool every day at 9:00. And even if it's 10:00, if I sit down to do it, then I know, I'm like an hour behind. So I'm going to be finishing up a little bit later. So it's just that mental thing. But now it's like, okay, it's 9:00. I'm just going to stop what I'm doing right here. And I'm going to go ahead and get homeschool started and, or at least open up, let them get started with some penmanship or something like that. And then say, I'm going to come sit at the table with you and get to the other subjects, but having those time prompts. So I put like some different, it was just my tasks that I do in a regular day anyway, but I just kind of mentally went through like the basic rhythm of the day. And I just tried to guess at the time points of when they would be. And then I have the little alarms, happy alarms, like not like buzzers, but like little happy alarms on my phone to let me know like, oh, okay, it's 3:00. Let me work on some laundry right now. I was probably going to work on it anyway, but just having it in that little bit of an order and a little bit more regimented is like, oh, that's cool. And, just so anyway, I'm pretty excited about that. But I could have never got to the Tiny Habits book before because I didn't feel good enough to do that. So the first step is the food. You have to heal and you have to rest and you have to give yourself a lot of grace to get there. Okay, we're 7 months in now. I keep saying 7 months. I need to count up. We might be 8 months in now, but it's taken a long time to get there. So even though the Tiny Habits book is really, really good and Amanda recommends it, she recommends that before you do a ketovore or carnivore diet. I don't know because I always fall to like, we don't do good because we don't feel good. And I can't force myself to do something when I feel horrible. So I'm more like, eat the good food, start feeling better, rest, take care of yourself, make eating your full-time job, obsess over this new way of eating, watch all the doctors. Guys, when you're in a doctory mood, I know you're not always in a doctory mood, but when you're in a doctory mood, watch a Dr. Chafee live stream, watch a Dr. Barry live stream, or any of the other awesome doctors, carnivore keto doctors. There's a ton of them. Watch them, let them answer questions, listen to all of their answers, and it's going to encourage you and just really give you the confidence that you need to just keep going with it. All right, let's see here. I had an upset stomach all the time, just about every day, wherever I went. I followed the Texas Boys and saw their videos here on Carnivore, started Carnivore, and now feel like a normal person. Wow. No way. Always loyal. you've been around for a long time on our channel. That is awesome. That is so awesome. And here's the other thing, guys. When we were doing whole foods, when we were doing plant-based all those years, we've been doing that since my son was little, since my son was a baby. Not perfectly. I told you before my scare with cancer, I had bad habits. I would go through McDonald's drive-through and get French fries. I would go through the donut shop and I would get donuts when they were just about to close. So they would give us all the extras. Like, we didn't do things perfect. We had exceptions to the rule, but as a whole, I'm talking it's like 7 years ago now. But then after that, we tightened up the ship. I mean, we really, really got crunchy, really got serious. Like, we were only eating from our pantry, only what we grew or what we had shipped in that was like in big 50-pound bags. Like, we were pretty serious. I wasn't as serious when I went through my pregnancies. I wish I had been. I had no knowledge of any of this stuff. I wish that I had known about iodine when I was, well, evidently a teenage girl, because I had fibrocystic breast disease. And every woman or girl that has fibrocystic breast disease, if you take iodine, all the fibroids go away. So I was already deficient as a child, let alone by the time I reached married life. I was very unhealthy, right? I had my appendix out. So I didn't know, because we were unhealthy, but we were fairly thin. We and we were still doing all the things that everybody expected us to do as parents and everything. So my husband was working out constantly at the gym. So nothing really was slowing us down. We didn't have any health issues that we knew about. So we just did like the whole food stuff. And if we wanted to treat ourselves to like donuts or something like that, we just did that too, once in a while. But anyway, that is amazing. Always Loyal. I am so excited for you. But my point is, doing all that other stuff, nobody else, not one person ever in our life, family, friends, nobody ever was like, oh, I'm doing plant-based too. You all are doing so good. I'm just going to do that too. I'm just going to start juicing vegetables, and nobody. That. Since this Carnivore thing, I can't even tell you how many people in our real life and just people we meet, like Craigslist people, like people just ask us questions. And then the next thing you know, like, they're like, oh, I lost, 5 pounds this week. Oh, do you remember when, my kids bought a truck from an older guy in Louisiana? They got talking about carnivore. He had all these health issues. He went carnivore and he lost like 50 pounds in just a couple months. And he like sends updates to my husband now. Anyway, it's just really, really cool. That's never, ever happened before with any other diet. And I think the proof's in the pudding that when people try it to any level or degree that you're going to try it, I would say really try it though. My husband says, you can't say that it didn't work if you didn't really do it. Like, you can't say like, oh, well, I did it, but I didn't really do it. And I think Nisha Berry was talking about that in the one podcast I listened to. Like, you have to get honest with yourself. Like, are you really doing it? Are you really doing carnivore? Are you really doing ketovore? Or are you just faking yourself out? Because it's real easy to lie to ourselves. So, but if you consistently commit to do it, you have to get rid of all of your little trigger points that are in the house. I'm just telling you, you got to get rid of them. And you got to make it really difficult for yourself to be able to cheat. You don't want to cheat. Okay, just make up your mind now. You're not going to cheat. Give yourself 30 days. You deserve 30 days and try it and see how you feel. And I think that's what's happening. And that never happened before with anything, with plant-based vitamins, supplements. We got cabinets full of supplements. We don't take like none of it now. I mean, have like a multivitamin that we take once in a while, and my iodine drops and my vitamin D, because I was low on vitamin D a couple years ago. So that'll be interesting to see if I'm still low on vitamin D, which when you're not going outside because you don't have any energy, you don't feel good, your vitamin D gets low and you're not eating enough meat. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Divine has got a good question. Did anyone get upset stomach from eating more meat than used to at first? Not upset stomach that I remember. I don't think anybody got an upset stomach. I did have two. So I was not a meat eater at all. Like I might eat some ground beef or hamburger or something like once a week. Maybe I would prefer something else, but like our go-to was always beef because that's what we have here. So we stopped buying chicken years ago. And so I was not a meat person. I just made myself do it. I was like, I just have to do it. This is what all these people are saying. And this is how, I didn't even think about it as like healing. And I was not recognizing any of these issues that I talk about today. It's funny. I was listening to another girl. I know this is a rabbit trail. I'm going to come back to your question, Divina, but, another girl, I think I talked about her last night, a farm wife mom. And she was saying her teeth would always be, I mean, she had lots of health issues, but one minor thing that she didn't even realize was that her teeth would always be really sensitive or feel like, oh, that's going to be a problem. Like, we're going to have to go to the dentist because that's probably going to be like a root canal or something, like something massive is happening there. And I would always have that stuff going on with my teeth, like super sensitive / painful. Even last year before we went on, the 2 years before we went on the cruise, I had like pains and like aching and stuff in my teeth. And I'm like, oh no, we're going on vacation. And the whole point of vacation, of course, is eating, right? Especially when you're going on a cruise last year. So, I mean, I can't have anything going on with my teeth because I need to be able to like eat when we go on this vacation. And, I always had stuff like that. Haven't had none, no teeth sensitivities at all. None, zero, zip, nothing. And my husband has said too, like our teeth are so clean now. And I know Amanda from Carnivore said like, my oral hygiene is better than it's ever been my whole life. Yeah. Because you're just eating meat and it's so clean, or meat and eggs. It's so clean. It's such a clean food. I mean, you might get a piece of meat stuck in your tooth and you can just use some floss and get a piece of meat out. But like, there's nothing else in your mouth, like fermenting in there. It's just meat. Like, so I don't know. And our dentist went carnivore, which we didn't know it. And he said, oh yeah, he told my oldest son, Matt, he was like, oh yeah, all your dental problems will be resolved. Matt doesn't have any dental problems anyway. My first 3 really didn't, but he was like, but you won't have any dental issues if you stick with carnivore. Anyway, it was interesting. So me, getting back to your question. So I was not a meat girl and 2 of my kids were not meat kids at all, to the point that I'm going to say my one son, he would get sick on beef and it would make him really sick. And I don't know all the ins and outs of why, but for years, if we got beef from our neighbor, he couldn't eat it. He could only, and actually in my pantry, I have even the beef broth or bone broth that I made. I have it labeled like our beef broth, our bone broth, and the other one is not, because it would make him sick. He would really get sick from it. I don't know exactly why that was, but I can tell you he has absolutely no issues with beef now, none at all. But him and then my 8-year-old Big Tex, he was vegetarian like through and through. He was super duper plant-based kid. He had grown up like that. He was just a fruits and vegetables kind of guy. He did not want any meat. He's, by the way, has the worst dental problems of all of my kids. Still to this day, we are still fixing dental problems from the past. He's not getting more dental problems, but he had such extreme cavities and dental issues that we had him at 2 different dentists at the same time. He would kind of bounce back between 2 different dentist offices because he just had, we needed multiple opinions, and one dentist was a kid's dentist and they would do this certain things. And then the other dentist was like a specialty dentist and then they would do these other things. And he just, the poor kid, but he was my super plant-based kid. And so, and my other guy that I was talking about who got sick from the beef, he would always opt out of the meat. So if I made meals during the week, when I made meals during the week, dinners specifically, he would take the rice, he would take the potatoes, sweet potatoes, grains, anything like that, and or salads. We were big on salads, growing our own salads, doing all that. And he would just leave whatever meat it was, and I would do the same thing. I would try to kind of sneak, because sometimes I think my husband was like, she's not eating any meat. but yeah, so it was a transition for sure, but nobody had upset stomachs over the meat. And I think that our bodies were just craving it. Like, I think there's the mental hurdle of you're not eating bags of, salads anymore, but and we're not having like all these baskets of fruit around the house and all that kind of stuff. But after you get past the mental hurdle and everybody else gets past the mental hurdle of it, which took us several months. Yeah, they're just excited about the meat. Like, they're excited about bacon, eggs, sausage. Like, these are all things that were kind of new to us. Like, we only had that stuff in very, very limited amounts. When we would have one of our pigs butchered, we'd have a limited amount of bacon or sausage. We never did beef sausage before. Now we do beef sausage with our cows. But so everything with meat was very limited. And I was the mom I teased because my cowboy, he loves all the leather working and doing all of that stuff. And he came into the kitchen, I guess it's been about a year ago now, and he was in a phase, this is way back before we went carnivore, where he just wanted to come in and like cook up meat in the morning. And I was like, you just can't be having meat first thing in the morning. Like, you have to have something else. You can't. And I was like, remember when I told you that, And now it's like the little kids are like grabbing these steaks. We've been getting these awesome deals on steaks, y'all. Just, you got to look around for the deals. So these steaks, $3 a pound, we've been getting these steaks for. And for my little kids, they just love them. I mean, it doesn't have to be a perfect steak anyway for them. And if it's really tough or hard, like if they've had a couple that, little Tex is like, and Big Tex are like, it's too hard to cut. I can't cut it. Well, yeah, because they're like $3 steaks. But I'm like, that's okay. Just pick it up and eat it like a carnivore. So there's like, yeah, you could just eat it like a caveman. We don't believe in cavemen, but like, eat it. Yeah. And they just have fun with it. So I'm like, just pretend you cooked it on a campfire and you're eating it up. So they're just as happy as can be with their meat. I didn't have any stomach issues to switch over to meat. I know a lot of people coming from like a standard American diet can get diarrhea and things like that, but we didn't have anything like that. It was it was literally the easiest transition diet, move we've ever made has been this. It's been so easy. Everybody's full. Everybody's satisfied. I mean, it's the mental part of like, in the beginning, well, would you want to just like sit around and eat chocolate chip cookies tonight? Well, yeah, sure. I mean, that would be great, but that's not a thing. So you just got to get over it, Let's see. Yes, I've been trying to be more at rest. Deleted myself from all social media. Yeah, that's the other thing. And I'm not on, which I haven't been for a while, but I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on anything. Facebook. I'm not on anything. I'm on here at nights with y'all, and we're going over tonight. But it's okay. I'm enjoying it. But I don't feel any need to do that kind of stuff anyway. Like there's so much more to life. I'm having a good time. I'm having a blast just with my kids, enjoying them, being present. And just reading my Tiny Habits book now and just trying to like, do the mom stuff. And that's it. Like, I don't know. It's just been great. You have gut issues. So, I don't know exactly what gut issues you have, Jessica, but whatever it is specifically, I would go onto Dr. Barry's or Dr. Chafee's live stream. They do them weekly and tell them exactly what you have, whatever your diagnosis is, whatever exactly it is that you have. And they can give you a very straightforward answer that is going to be based on a lot of experience. So, but I wouldn't be, meat is the easiest thing for our bodies to digest. It's the easiest thing on your stomach. It takes way less work on your digestive system to digest meat than it does any type of carbohydrates or vegetables or anything like that. So there's just a lot of great information out there on that. There's an interview, and I'm not going to be able to remember all of it, but there's an interview of a doctor. He is at Duke University. He's been doing ketogenic research for 20 some years or something. And he has he had a student that actually had a colostomy bag because he had all of these different issues because of his food. He was plant-based. And it just continued to get worse and worse and worse until the point that he ended up on a colostomy bag. He's young. He's 30. And I can't remember the names, but anyway, if I find out, I'll try to go back and put a link in for you guys. But fascinating interview that he did with this guy. And he just goes through explaining how when he was plant-based, like what would come through in the colostomy bag and everything. And he's basically been able to heal everything on a carnivore diet. And basically barely anything comes out in the colostomy bag on a carnivore diet. It's just so clean. Your body's using all of that protein and all of that fat for fuel. And you do make your own carbohydrates too. Your body has a process that if you're not putting in carbohydrates, you don't need carbohydrates to live. Your body makes them on their own. So, it was a fascinating interview, and the poor guy, he just, he has to live the rest of his life with a colostomy bag. But he said, he's just so thankful that he found this way of eating now, and he can share all of this information with other people about, I don't know if he had Crohn's disease. I think he might have had Crohn's disease. He had a lot of gut issues. And I'm trying to think. Let's see. not meat divided by. I always ate meat and I love it. But now the difference is I'm only carnivore pretty much. Okay. That is so awesome. I'm going to have to tell my husband always loyal. He is going to be just tickled to death. So, I was going to say, Jessica, if your gut issues are like, if you had your gallbladder out, if that's a concern, then, there is like a supplement that you can take in the beginning of starting carnivore or a keto, any ketogenic diet. It's called ox bile, and it will take some ox bile. So it will, if your stomach is not used to all of that meat and you don't have a gallbladder to help process it, the ox bile will really help. And eventually you won't need the ox bile ongoing. Your body will almost form like a pseudo gallbladder, and you'll be fine, and you'll get fat adapted, and you'll be able to process the meat and the protein just fine. But meat is such a simplistic food when you think about God's perfect design of food, and especially ruminant animals, which is why like Dr. Chafee, and there's certain ones like Homestead How. If you guys haven't checked out Carrie Mann from Homestead How, he was one of the first ones that I found when I started thinking about carnivore diet, and his testimony is amazing. And for him, he just does like a Michaela Peterson. He just does like a lion diet. So he's played around with it, but his how he feels is beef, salt, and water, electrolytes, and that's it. So when you think about like Jessica, like plant-based, a lot of times they'll talk about mono meals, right? And if you eat a mono meal, it's just one ingredient food, right? People talk about single ingredient foods, right? Just having one thing, just a lot of one thing. And that's so much easier on your digestive system. But the easiest thing on your digestive system for a human body is ruminant meat. That is the easiest thing on the planet for a human being to digest. And your body uses it so efficiently and so perfectly. And all of the nutrition, all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the things that you need are right there in that red meat. And whether it's sheep or deer or buffalo or cows or caribou or whatever that ruminant is, goat. But those ruminants were created so perfectly for us. And when you think about it in terms of that mono meal, when your body isn't spending all of this time and all of this energy to digest and break down all of these different things, whether you're putting in like rice and whatever, fish or turkey, and then you're putting in mashed potatoes or whatever it is, right? Salads, mixed greens, all these different things, vegetables. And then of course you want dessert because you had carbs. So of course you're craving dessert, right? Or maybe you're good that night and you're like us, we only did dessert like twice a week, but sometimes once a week. But that's a lot for your body to deal with. And every time, I learned this from one of the other doctors, I can't remember his name. Every time you put food into your mouth, your body is having, I just want to say like a inflammatory response, like an autoimmune type response to that food, because it's an outside element coming into your body. So as soon as you put that thing into your body defenses, everything is like, let's figure this thing out. Let's break this thing down. Let's make sure there's no harm being done to the body, and, you know, all of that. And when it comes to just meat, it's created so perfectly that it's so highly digestible. It's so gentle on your body. There's just less of that autoimmune, like inflammatory response to that outside element. There still is, you can't get around it. You would have to eat nothing to not have a response. But that meat, and that just, I don't know, the whole thing is just so amazing. And once in a while you do hear different doctors talk about the design of it, the design. And it's like, well, you said it, not me. I love my veggies. Tried more meat and eggs tonight, and the last few bites are rough. I did have some veggies, small amount though. Yeah. So just keep weaning yourself off. Take your time. I would just take your time with it. Don't, don't overdo it. Just do a little bit at a time, and you'll get there. You will get there. I did love my veggies too, by the way. And I had 2 kids that super love their veggies. Love them. So I'm not in the don't love my veggies camp. I'm in the veggies made me sick camp, and I didn't know it. And they made my kids sick, and I didn't know it. And they destroyed our teeth. So that's where I'm at with it. But I know some people can be ketovore, but you don't know the damage, you don't know the harm that's being done until you do away with it and you hit that baseline, and you stay at that baseline for at least 30 days, 90 days, and then you can add in one vegetable and say, okay, let's see how I do pepper or whatever. And I'll just do that 1 week. And I think you might be surprised at the things that you thought were fine, because when you're eating a mix, right? We used to get like those shredded mixes, and like tons of them. And we used to get those bags of the shredded mix, and it was all the cruciferous vegetables. So like broccoli, like cabbage and kale, of course, kale, which is like the worst one for you. Kale, and, it was all the cruciferous vegetables. And then it had like, I don't know, some sunflower seeds in there. Like, it had the little topping. I never let the kids use the dressing in there because I knew the dressing was crap. But the little dry topping packet would be like sunflower seeds and maybe some dried cranberries or something. So we throw that on there. But made my own dressing, and we ate tons of that. If I had a bowl of that tonight, Divina, I would love it. It would taste amazing. I'm telling you right now, my taste, I love it. But my taste, I also love pizza. I love cheesecake. I love brownies. And my husband says, you might love cocaine if you try it. It doesn't mean that it's doing you any good. It just means that you like it. So it's just something to keep in mind, because my point is, I didn't know the damage until we took them out. And I thought, well, this is going to be really funny, because basically we were down to like 3 vegetables. We had potatoes and red sauce and green beans. That was our 3 vegetables that we've had for, I don't know, probably the last 3 years. I'd have to go back and look at videos, but probably like the last 3 years, that's our 3 vegetables that we were living on, minus the shredded salads that we would get, and I would go on a run with them. Sometimes I would take time off. Before we went carnivore, I hadn't bought those shredded salads for probably a year, because my friend Christine had gone carnivore, and I was starting to rethink some of the cruciferous propaganda that's behind all that. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. But you're doing good. You're doing amazing. Keep going. And maybe it's the eggs, if the eggs made you a little sick, just stick to like a real basic meat. If you're having meat aversion, add sauce. I use General Tso's sauce. Not perfect. It had a lot of sugar in it. I used General Tso's sauce every single night, pretty much, for probably like 3 months, like the first 3 months I was carnivore. I think it had like 30 grams of sugar. in like, I don't know, a tablespoon or something like it. It didn't have high fructose corn syrup in it, but use sauces. Find something, maybe you like teriyaki. Find something. You can probably find a low sugar keto one that's better than General Tso's. But if you have to use General Tso's, use some General Tso's to get over it. I mean, whatever it takes to get the meat down. Jessica, I thought I could have cream, milk, other foods. Found out it's the emulsifiers in that irritate my stomach. Goes cheap fake cream, milk, pasteurized in groceries. I drink raw. Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. That is super great. Yeah, I have one of my kids, you know, we did raw milk for years with our dairy cows, but one of my kids specifically can't have the pasteurized milk. Real cream, real butter, Amish, etc. I've been researching for 3 years now. That's awesome. Oh, wow. That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Well, I hope we get to meet one day. Always loyal. Like in real life, that would be super cool. You're in Amish land? You said you're getting, where are you? I should know this. Are you in Ohio? Indiana. All right, raw milk. We need a what you eat in a day video. Well, I'll tell you right now, it would be really, really boring because it's like ground beef, cooked it. Heather knows. Heather's probably gone. She's enjoying some family time, but right now it would be really extremely boring. But I feel like it would be really extremely boring because we're just doing beef tallow butter. And that's it. But my kids love eggs. They love steaks. Right now they're in a steak phase. It might not last forever, but I've learned to go with the phases. So right now everybody's loving steaks. So that is what they're doing. They do some ground beef too with some butter and tallow. They had that a couple times today. They had eggs. They had steaks. They had blueberries and yogurt, unsweetened yogurt. That's a new thing. So my little kids have been enjoying that. Parasites in the meat? I don't know. I'm not worried about the parasites in the meat, if that's what you're talking about. But you know, you can always use a dewormer. Even the Amish, right? Always loyal. If you ask this Amish guys, even my mom was telling me because she's near an Amish community, they talk about regularly, you know, like on a regimen, like say it's a couple times a year or once a year, whatever you're doing, deworming yourself. So that's the thing if you're worried about parasites. And yeah, I'm not going to get into dewormer because we'll get banned. We'll get banned from YouTube. So we're not afraid of dewormer though. Okay. Jessica Pennington. Let's see. I think we're almost to the end here. Jessica Pennington Pursley. Pork does not need to be fully cooked because of parasites, but not beef. Oh, venison needs to be deep frozen for 30 days before making jerky for safety. Beef does not. Oh, okay. You guys know what you're all talking about. Okay. I had chronic constipation since my gallbladder removal. Since cutting out the carbs, BMs are smaller and constipation gone unless I eat dairy. Awesome. That's awesome. Always have my entire life and always thought it was neat. Yeah, bread is my kryptonite. I cannot. I'm anything bread. Yeah, like any type of bread, cake, bread, brownie, cookies, anything with flour in it, basically. It's like, but that was my stuff. But, you know, I can go out, you know, we go to church almost on a weekly basis, we have fellowship meals. It doesn't bother me at all. I can look at it, no problem. I couldn't do that when I was plant-based. I would have it in my mind, like on Sunday afternoon, like, okay, I know all those desserts are going to be there. I'm going to eat my high carb, lean protein plate, plant-based. I was always like that, and then I would always just like have to cave and have like a slice of whatever, or just some little something. Cause it just was always so, you had the sugar, it's just, I don't know. It's the sugar monster. Like it just wakes up the sugar monster when you eat a little bit of carbs and then you want the dessert. You just want it. And all that is gone now. Like I can sit right across from somebody that's eating dessert. We do it almost on a weekly basis. My kids can do that. And there's like, it has no bearing, like no power over you at all anymore. Now, my little kids, when we were going to fellowship meals in the beginning, we would let them have like one small dessert, and then we kind of switched it over to like, we just bring ice cream for them. So then like, okay, so like they're learning to say no to the desserts and just have ice cream. And now, just in the last couple of weeks, they really like these bars that we've been getting. So Sunday night, they're skipping the dessert table because they want their bar when they get home. So it's pretty cool. It's really cool. All right, let's see. I think we're almost at the end. So maybe Candida for craving sugar and carbs. I don't know. I think just carbs want more carbs. Like when you put in carbs, whether it's vegetables, whether it's sugar, straight up sugar, donuts, candy, sugary drinks, whether it's fruit, or honey, whatever it is, if you're putting carbs straight into your body is recognizing that as sugar. So you're getting that insulin reaction and that insulin spike, and you're just going to want more of it. It's that roller coaster of the day of like, oh, I had a piece of pumpkin bread, or I had a couple pancakes, and now it's been an hour or 2 hours, and oh, what can I have now? That all day long searching, chasing the carb cravings. It's hard to recognize it when you're in it. It's very clear to look back on it and then be like, oh yeah, that's kind of how it was all the time. Like I thought I was doing really, really good, and I thought I was really regimented, but I was just on a carb roller coaster the whole time. Oh, you're in Maryland. Oh, okay. But you moved to Florida. Sorry. Sorry, it's getting late. Found a place with hand-rolled Amish butter. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. All right, y'all. Ooh, we were on here a long time tonight. Had a blast. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope some of this is helpful. I know food isn't the main thing. I know we all got way bigger fish to fry in our life than food, but I think food is the first step. The first step to health and the first step to self-care. And if you prioritize your food, then everything else starts to line up and it all starts to make sense. And you have the energy, your hormones are straightened out, you're feeling good. It's just like you can then start to tackle all of these other little things, and you can start to see and deal with all of the other things in your life. But the first thing is you got to feed yourself. You have to be good at knowing what to put in your body. And this is just so simple. This has just been the simplest way we've ever eaten in our entire lives. And it's great. And we're feeling great. And it's been a while now. We're still feeling great. And I just think that it's so important to share it. So hope it helps somebody here tonight. And love you all so much. Thanks so much for coming on, and thanks for sharing. And hope you have a wonderful evening with your families. Keep doing whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Just don't get discouraged in well-doing. Just keep trying, keep doing the best that you can do, and just working towards, whatever it is, wherever you want to be, whether it's keto or ketovore or carnivore or wherever you want to be, just working towards those goals. All right. Love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.